Bonjour, je suis Juliette, bienvenue dans ce podcast. Dans le cadre de Bâton Studio, j'interviewe une personnalité sur sa spiritualité. Ici, nous parlons des cartes du tarot, de superstitions, de fantômes, de la vie après la mort, de destin, de croyances de manière générale. Dans cet épisode, nous rentrons dans l'intimité d'un invité, qui partage avec nous ses expériences magiques. Bonne écoute!
Been a tool, it's been guidance, I think, it's a way to create movement, create thought, mostly guidance, I think is a really beautiful way to understand certain things in yourself, through, something that's also bigger, something that's beyond, and I think for me, the effect, or every time I get my cards read, it makes me think, it makes me exit my body for a second and be like, okay, there's something bigger here. But I would say the main thing is guidance. It's a way to reorient myself in my path and remember my North Star, Yeah.
The thing bigger than us, what is it?
I think for me, it's like the only way that I can explain it really truly is just like a collection of energies, Us, it's people, it's connection, it's the universe, you can call it, I think, many different things. People, I think, connect to this beyond through religion, through each other, It's purely like a reminder that we're a collection of something bigger, It's like whether that's, your ancestors, whether it's the earth itself, I think it's like just a collection of energies. I think that's how I've always understood the beyond.
You told me that you had your card reading, but do you do yourself?
Never. I never have. And I've been really curious, but it's something that, I feel like there will come a time in my life when I'm like, I'm ready to get my own deck, I think that's coming for me, but I'm not in a rush and I'm not forcing it. I know that the right deck or the right person will be like, here, this is yours. And I know that there's a world. I'm so curious by it and I'm so interested in it, I believe it always has moved me, I mean, you've read my cards now so many times, and always I'm like, it makes me think, I believe in it, it gives me guidance. But I've never read my own cards, and I think I will, but it just hasn't happened. Yeah.
Is there a card you know a bit some stuff about, or no, not at all?
Well, the Fool, of course.
The backpacker energy.
Yeah, of course. It's my most favorite card. It's like it's my reminder. For me, the Fool, when I got my cards read by you, now I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, at the end of 2019, right before 2020, right before the pandemic, the main card that came through was the Fool. And I remember, you explaining to me this archetype and what it means. And then Christoph, our friend, he was also there, who, I remember he talked to us and told us that for him, he had a whole year where he embodied the Fool, and he obviously himself is a performer and like just the idea of, walking into life with your eyes closed and just like this position, to accept and allow. And to me, it's like I'm not like the Fool, which is why the Fool is so attractive to me, because it is something that I think is I love how I feel when I embody qualities of the Fool, it's so beautiful.
Which card are you if you're not the Fool?
I don't know. I think I exist between the Fool and it's like I love control, and I also love, I'm a dreamer, you know? It's like I have a very logical side, and I have a very dreamlike side. And I think something I've been learning is that I have these two sides of myself always kind of fighting against each other, you know? Which is why I think for me now lately, it's like, how can I merge? How can I make them come together, you know? And I think the Fool kind of, it's like the energy of the Fool reminds me to just let go a little bit more. And but I don't know what card I would be. What card do you think I would be?
I think le pendu is the quality you have to see things and to make your opinion before acting. But I don't mean you're super serious, but like you super like welcoming people with open heart, and you go on the mountain of the people to understand them. So I think I often see you to be le pendu, to observe, to welcome, because it's the quality of the pendu, to welcome.
I love that.
But le fou, you are also.
Yeah,
you are
I have my Fool with me. Well, yeah, I mean, with the Fool, I think why it stuck with me so much. I remember we were in Uruguay. Christoph, our friend, picked us up, you and I, and it was Christmas Day, right? And we went to his house in the middle of these fields, and we had melon and white wine, and and it was Christmas.
Essentiel.
Yeah.
2020 essentiel.
Yeah, and it was summer, and it was, you know, it was like we all, this Belgian guy, this French girl, and this Chilean girl, all in the middle of Uruguay on Christmas, spending time together like a family, you know? And you both, you know, did a full reading for me that night, kind of overlooking the year and what would come, and the Fool was sort of the main card that came through. And I remember both you and Christoph telling me in different ways, because, like, you know, I mean, you're the way you just, you know, he's so particular and he's so amazing, and he's such a, he feels, and he's very spiritual, and then you have so much knowledge of the tarot. So I had these two wonderful, intelligent, like you know, in tune people telling me that I needed to just like embody this archetype and what that meant. And I remember, you know, being like, yeah, this is, I'm going into this upcoming year with just this knowledge. And then we danced, and then
We've been full.
and then we were we embodied the Fool. We're just like going crazy, dancing in this house, you know, the three of us. And like it was like, remember, there was nothing inside the house. It was completely empty. But Christoph had these beautiful drapes and curtains and textiles that he had dyed, kind of hanging. So it was just the three of us on Christmas Day eating melon.
For you, tarot,
is
it a tool to have a look on the future? What's the future gonna look like?
You know, I think for me, the way that I experience it is a tool to reorient my present, more so. You know, it's a way to think of my current reactions, my current experiences, and remember that maybe I need to adjust a little, you know? So the way, you know, it's like by kind of looking into the future, it's like remembering that I need to, maybe I need to change the path a little bit, and maybe I need to think of this in a different way.
Do you think there is a destination for each other? We talk about destin, destiny. Is it something you believe in?
I think we have the power to change, maybe, or we have free will. but I definitely think that there are certain things, experiences, people that we need to meet, that we need to come across. I think there's a lot of nuance and a lot of details, you know, that we can change. It's like we have the power to decide and choose. I don't think that we're incapable because there's just one specific fate that we need to follow. But I do think that there are certain things that just need to happen, and it's like our life moves in a direction for a reason, I think, and we're drawn to certain things. We're attracted. We feel energy towards specific things, people, places, because I think there's something there, right? It's like we were talking about this last night. Like, why is it that we sometimes can feel connection to a place where we have nothing in common to that place, or sometimes you meet a person and you're like, I feel like I've known you forever. You know, I think sometimes life, you know, it's like when things like that happen, where you meet someone, or you go to a country where you're not from, but you're like, wow, this feels like I feel something here. I feel good. I feel like myself. I feel magnetic. I feel attractive. I feel energized by this. I think that there's a reason why you're there, you know? There's a teaching.
And yesterday we talked about what we talked about yesterday, the
red string. Yeah, the red string. I think, you know, my beautiful friend Natalia, you know, talked to me about this only a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and it's a beautiful Japanese legend that tells, you know, or explains fate, I think, in a really beautiful way. And it talks about this old man that lives on the moon, and before you're born, he ties a little red string to your pinky finger, and he ties it to another human. And throughout life, you're brought together by this invisible string that connects you to. And, you know, the red string throughout your life, it can contract, it can tangle, it can, you know, never feel like it's quite there, but it never cuts, and it's always there. And throughout life, we're taken to these people, and I just Natalia explained it to me, and I was like, this makes all the sense in the world. It's such a beautiful way of explaining it, because sometimes, you know, it's like when you meet certain people where you're just like, yeah, you were meant to be in my life. You were 1,000,000% meant to come and teach me this and show me this. And, you know, and for me, now that I've kind of, you know, I've moved quite a lot, and I've, you know, I left Chile when I was so young, and then I've lived now in a few different places. So sometimes I'll come across certain people where I meet them for maybe 2 days, and I have this connection with them. And I know, you know, even if years go by, I'm like, I know you're gonna come around in my life. I know I'm gonna see you again, like you and I, you know, hadn't seen each other in 5 years, but I've always known. I'm like, the time will come when Juju and I connect, because we're tied by this thing already. Like, we've connected in a way that's kind of unexplainable, and I have this like love and care, even though I have no clue what's happening maybe in your life right now. Like, I feel really connected to you in that way, and I feel really connected to a lot of people in my life, you know, that are spread around the globe maybe, and it's like...
But maybe you don't have to see them again. For example, yesterday you told me, I said like, I should have this conversation with this person just to end the cycle, and you remember what you reply? You reply like, yeah, but maybe it's another conversation, not with this person, you know. Yeah. And it was really smart. Yeah. The people you met just for 2 days are meant to stay. Yeah. Even if you don't turn in the tangible world, like say, hey, I touch her, like maybe come in your dream, come in your thought, like I can see you today, and we have, and yesterday and the day after, we meet this week, and we haven't been together for 4 years. Yeah, is that true? Yeah, 4 years, but you never left me.
Yeah.
Never. I mean, like today we are in the tangible world, no, but yeah, it's meant to...
Yeah, and I think it's exactly that, you know, it's like, even if you don't, it's like when a story feels unfinished, what I really believe, and this is, you know, what I wrote about not long ago, it's like when a story feels unfinished, it's because it's not finished, and it doesn't mean that this person or this story, you know, will come back, and the person maybe will come back and they'll explain to you what you needed to, they'll tell you what you needed to hear. No, it's like maybe you'll meet someone else, or maybe 20 years from now you're gonna have an experience where you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, oh, that's why that needed to happen 20 years ago, and then you can close that cycle, and then you can close that story. So I think it's like stories always find a way to complete each other, and it's not necessarily in the way that we think it might be, right? Like different characters come in, but it's exactly that. It's like it just needed to happen for a reason, and now you just have to trust that time will give you the ending, you know? Yeah.
I have another question. I have a lot, but my second question is...
Okay. My second,
yeah. Good luck.
Okay.
I know you are spiritual. You are.
Yeah.
But can you describe your spirituality?
For me, spirituality is energy. Like, I believe in energy. I believe that you can walk into a room and you can feel something. You can feel when there's tension. You can feel when there's love. You can feel when there's... Yeah, it's like I believe that we, you know, that one energy, it's like the most basic law of nature, right? Energy is never created or destroyed. Energy is recycled. Energy moves. So the moment that we're born, I believe that, you know, it's like we're made up of a collection of different kinds of energies, you know? So throughout our life, you know, maybe even going back to the fate question, it's like we're pulled towards certain things because of this thing inside of us, you know? And I believe in that, you know? I believe in connection. I believe connection to me is also energy. You can feel something unspoken, you know?
With the table and the trees, or just between humans? I mean, like, the connection is between this pillow also, or just animals and plants, or objects or something. La tierra has energy. For what is energy?
You know, it's funny because I would maybe say no, I don't think that objects have energy, but when I think about it, I mean art, right? Art is energy. Like, you look at a painting and you feel something, but you know, you feel something because there's a person behind it, there's intention, there's a force, you know? Or even like nature, of course. Nature is like, it's all energy, you know?
Time is energy.
Time is energy. Like everything. Everything, because I think that's the way that the world functions, you know? Even like on like a very scientific, simple way, it's like, it's energy. Everything is energy, you know? What we eat is energy. Light is energy. You know, so I think with that too, I mean, it's like when there's a person, when there's a human inflicting energy onto something, you feel that, you know? You can feel, like, for example, when I drink my coffee from a cup that was made by someone, my coffee tastes better. Energy's in the earrings that I wear, made by people. It's in the clothes that I wear, you know? I think that's why I love living. I love things made by people. That's why I love things, you know? It's not that I love things, but to me it's like, if I wear a shirt, or like the jacket that I wore yesterday, knowing that I met a woman, she made it, she got the textile from India, she made it reversible, and it's the most beautiful collection of colors in a jacket. It's not just a jacket, it's like a whole human, you know? And I really
It's an
feel
extension
that.
of your soul. In fact, I saw this quote yesterday.
Yeah.
It was so you. I noticed you from far, that's Camila. I can see your quote, and I never seen this quote. It's so it's a kind
and
of.
My friend Leide, when we saw it together in El Rastro in Madrid, she was like, "This is your coat. You found yourself."
It's quite like the body. In fact, we're gonna let it at the end.
Yeah.
So, do you think we have an Alma?
Yes.
Where she goes after?
I think she goes back to. She continues to move through different people and different things, which is why I think I really believe, for example, I believe in past lives. I believe that we're not just us. We're our grandparents. We're other people that maybe we don't necessarily, we are each other. So yeah, I think that a soul, your soul, it's like a beautiful painting, of just like a bunch of different souls. And I think when we go, they just go back to this beautiful place, the universe, whatever you want to call it, and then it gets redistributed, then the soul kind of becomes something else, or you feel it in different ways. You feel it when someone reminds you of someone, or for example, like my mom really believes that I'm connected to her father, she really thinks that my granddad is somehow I remind her a lot of him, and he died on February 13th, and I was born on February 13th, and my mom and he died really young, and I was born a few years later. My mom was 28, he was 52, and he died in a motorcycle accident, and my mom is convinced that he's sent me, or that we're connected. Sometimes I'll be doing things around the house and my mom will be like, "You're my dad, like you're my dad," or she'll be like, "Oh, he would do that," and he loved the outdoors, and he had this really wild sense of adventure, and he was kind of the clown of the family. And my mom, sometimes I'll even play music, or she'll be like, "Oh, that was one time it happened where my mom was like, that was my dad's favorite song. I haven't heard that song in forever." And it had been a song, that I had been listening to just by chance, and I loved it, and I just played it for my family one day. And so I think that the soul, it's not just us, it's a whole line of people and experiences and things. And I think when we die, it just gets recycled and repurposed, and that's why we feel a connection to other people, because it's not just us, It's there's so much inside of us. Yeah.
Are you superstitious?
Yes and no. I think not in in a very literal sense, it's not like I live my life not doing certain things because I think it'll be bad luck. But I do think, I try to be very intentional, I believe in karma. I believe in the way that, that we experience, the way that we give love, the way that we are, comes back to us. So I try to live a really intentional, mindful life, and I try to give love, I think that's returned. Everything is returned. Everything's a mirror, so I believe in that. So, but I don't think that if you see a black cat, no, I don't think I don't live my life in that way. Yeah.
Numbers?
No. The number 13 feels irrelevant because I was born on February 13th. My grandpa died on February 13th. I was born in a room 13. So the 13 kind of, I don't know what, you know, but I feel like there's something there. I've never really explored it, but no, numbers have never really been so relevant. They say 13 is bad luck, and I'm like, well, not so far. Knock on wood. Huh?
Did you have already experienced like bad karma or good karma? Is it some stuff you believe in?
I think I try to be really conscious of my thoughts. I try to, you know, manifestation, I think the way that I see it is not like you think you can buy a mansion and then, you know, you visualize the mansion and then you get the mansion. I don't think that necessarily works. I don't believe in that. But I do think it's a lot deeper than that. It's it's like your neural pathways, you know, the way that your brain is wired, our conditioning. If you can really, truly believe that you can do something, that you can achieve something because you've seen it, you've seen examples of people like you, people that look like you, people that maybe had the same opportunities as you know. If you see that and you're exposed to that, then you yourself fully believe that you can also make it happen, which is why they say that, for example, men, you know, especially white men, like, they can achieve these things sometimes because they've seen it. So they're like, yeah, I can be the CEO of a company like that and I can make that much money. Like, of course, because he did it and he's like me. You know, it's why for a woman sometimes it's harder, of course, you know, because we haven't seen examples, you know? So I think it's, for me, it's like, if we can then begin to be conscious of that, it's like, okay, if I want to achieve something, and not just like a material things, but anything, right? Like a relationship maybe, but you haven't seen an example of it, and you don't think that you're worthy of maybe receiving the love or receiving the care, you know, because of things that happened when you were a kid, or, you know, anything. It's like, then it's not going to happen for you. So I think it's a matter of like, okay, well, how can I start to relearn certain patterns? How can I start to show myself that this is something that I can achieve? And then when I really believe that, the moment that you really start to believe that you can do it, that you're worthy, that's when things show up for you. Jobs, relationships, friendships, you know, when you're like, yeah, I deserve a really good friend. Because, you know, then like that's when the really good friend shows up. I really think that happens. So that's my entire thing right now, you know. I think I'm trying to show myself that I deserve certain things, or that I'm worthy of certain things. And I, you know, it's a slow process. It requires like me taking care of my body, you know. It requires me having moments with myself where I can listen to myself, you know, like it's also, it's like, if you can't give yourself the love, then, you know, then how are you going to find that anywhere else? So I do that by, you know, I try to be mindful of one, like on a very simple level, it's like, how am I taking care of my body? You know, I'm not great at it, but like I try to get good sleep so I can have a good morning, so I can have a good day, or like eat things that make me feel good. Not always, because I love bread and cheese. But I also, yeah, it's like slowly starting to understand, you know. I mean, of course, therapy, you know, I've been going to therapy now for a long time. It's not just the therapy, but the act of going to therapy. It's like I am making the time to go and figure something out and think about my life, and I'm trying, you know. I think that starts to slowly rewire, you know. It's like you're telling yourself, you're teaching yourself that you're deserving of, you know, your money, for example, you're gonna pay money so that someone can, you know, so that you can work on yourself. I think it's like doing little things like that for me is really important. But yeah, but I mean, to answer your question, I think I'm in search, you know, I'm trying to figure out how to do that. It's my journey right now, and maybe my forever journey. I don't think we're ever gonna arrive.
Can you tell us about a magic moment in your life?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Camille.
I think I've had two magical moments. I'll tell you both. So the first one happened when I moved from the US from Chile to the US. I was 12 and my family and I moved to Missouri. I had lived in Chile my whole life in a small town, and my dad got a job in the US, so we ended up going there. When we arrived to the US, the first couple days, we didn't have a house yet. The house was in the midst of happening. They were closing the deal, so we were staying at a hotel. And in a room, it was my two sisters and I staying in a room in this hotel, like a Hilton in Missouri. Not magical. So we were in this room, and the following day, so it was at nighttime, the following day, it was our first day of school. And I remember my two sisters and I were really nervous. We didn't know English. We had worn a uniform our entire life, and we were going to a big public school in the US, and we could wear whatever we wanted. So we were trying to choose our outfit, and we were all just nervous, kids also, but not like kind of in a bad mood, and just like, and I remember I was just so nervous. And a couple of years before that, my grandma had died, my dad's mom. Beautiful woman, beautiful woman, sweet, magical angel. She was like the grandma that you would think. It's like she would always hide M&Ms under our pillow when we would go visit her, just like a sweet woman. And she died really rapidly from leukemia, and it was really tragic. And she was young and healthy, and this happened quickly, and she died. And so this had happened a few years before. And anyway, so going back to the hotel room in Missouri, so my three sisters and I, we were all choosing our outfit, and all of a sudden, there's no better way to explain this, we were in the room, and the entire room got filled up with this scent, this aroma, this fragrance, that the same fragrance, the same aroma. It wasn't even a perfume. It was just the same scent of my grandma. She smelled a very, very particular way. It was like her scent, when someone just smells like something, and she had it very strongly. And this hotel room in Missouri, all of a sudden, for a few seconds, just completely smelled like my grandma. And my sister looked at us, and she was like,
the little one or Fran?
Fran. She looked at us and she was like, Grandma's here. And we all just like looked at each other. Danny was my little sister. She's so young, so she was like, what? But like we all just hugged, like we all just hugged, and it was like maybe, I don't know, 5-10 seconds of this scent, and Fran just being like, Grandma's here, like she's here, okay. We're okay.
How old you were?
I was 12. Fran was 14 and Danny was 8. Yeah, and I mean, I talk about it with my sister and now, and
that's like, so cute.
Yeah. Yeah, like. And
what do you believe it was today?
My grandma, of course. My grandma being like, you're okay, all of you, I'm here. And it's never happened after, but it was like such a particular moment of just like, like we were lost, confused, different country, being from like Chile in Missouri, like, yeah, I think it was my grandma for sure, So yeah, so that was, I was so young, but I believe in that moment I was like, yeah, There's no questions. This is my grandma.
The other story, you told me you had both.
Yeah, so the second story, it's crazy because it's about my grandpa. I mentioned that my grandpa died on February 13th, and my mom has always said that him and I are really similar, and I've always felt this connection to him. I never met him, but I've always heard of him, so it happened maybe 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was living in Los Angeles. I was in a house living with 2 friends, but I was alone in the house, and I was sitting in the kitchen writing. I was working on, like a little poetry book at the time, so I was writing a poem, and I was having dinner with my book or with my journal, and I saw this like magazine right there that I had actually worked for, so I started going through it, and I saw this like little letter there that was like a letter from the author to her grandpa, and it started with "Dear Grandpa." So I was like, oh, what an interesting, I was like, I should write a letter to my grandpa. I don't know, I've never done it. So I opened my journal and I started writing this letter. I started with "Dear Grandpa." And I've never had this experience ever where for 2 hours, and I don't even know how it was 2 hours. I feel like my grandpa, like I channeled my grandpa, and he wrote the poem like that I wrote. I ended up writing a poem, and I just feel like my grandpa fully came through and just like wrote this thing, because 2 hours went by. I looked at the clock. I finished this thing where I was like, when you're working on a project and you just like lose complete notion, and you're just like, this is not me doing this. There's something bigger. There's something else, like, and I'm just channeling right now. And for me, I was like, I am purely the medium right now. And I think this poem, it felt like, I finished writing it. I read it. I sent it to my sister, Fran. She called me crying, and she was like, this feels like Grandpa wrote a letter to Mom. You have to send it to Mom. You have to send it to her. This is like... So I sent it to my mom, and my mom called me crying, and she was like, she was like, it's my dad. Like, this feels like my dad wrote this to me. And I, again, it's like, I don't think I wrote it, and I've never, that's why I write, that's why we do creative things, because we feel like there's something bigger being channeled through us, That's what I look for when I write. And I've had little moments where I feel it, where you're just like, you forget about time, and all of a sudden it's dark, and like you've just been working on this thing, and it feels so good, and that's why I continue to do it. But I think this one was so particular because I truly was like, words are like pouring out of me, and I'm just writing this thing. And then, it felt like a spiritual experience, truly, where I was like, I had never felt so connected to him, like I was like, he's here with me, through me. That experience was kind of like again, I was like, I'm channeling something, I think, here beyond myself. Or that's, it's like, it just felt, I'm not explaining it well, but it just felt so powerful, like it felt really different. It felt like I wasn't in reality for that moment. I was somewhere else.
What are the dreams? Where do they come from?
I think it's our...
Where?
Well, I think it's obviously our subconscious. It's something... I don't know if it's a... I think it's, again, it's like the beyond, right? Like something outside of ourselves, and our brain processing this information that kind of comes through, I dream so much. I dream every single night, and I have like 5 dreams. Like, it's sometimes too much where I wake up and I'm tired, where I'm just like, I didn't even sleep, I just dreamt, and then it's so crazy to me that some people don't dream, you know, like I dream, I close my eyes and I start dreaming. So I think it's like it's information, you know, it's information coming at you. And I think it's our mind processing things, it's our body processing things, you know, that maybe we don't have the capacity to see when we're awake, you know. So I think it's information being handed to us.
Do you believe in telepathy?
I think there is, yes, because I experienced it with my sister a lot, you know. Yeah, I think that sometimes there's like an understanding that goes beyond words, of course. You can look at someone and you can know things, you know.
And without seeing each other?
Yeah, also. Yeah, I think so. I think that I felt it with specific people, you know, when you can just feel. You just feel...
Your grandma?
My grandma. I felt it with, I felt it a few times, more than a few times actually, you know. I mean, crazy when sometimes you just think of someone and then all of a sudden you get a call from them and they're like, I was thinking of you. And I was like, yeah, of course. I think we're a lot more powerful than we think, and I think our thoughts are a lot more powerful than we think. We don't give them enough credit, in a good and in a bad way. When we talk to ourselves in a specific way, I think that affects everything. So monitoring our thoughts, I think, is like such a powerful tool that we don't think about too much, you know? It's like our thoughts the mind is powerful. So I think that when you think of someone, when you feel something, or something is coming at you, I think there's something being exchanged in the air, you know, or so, you know, it's like again, energy. So I think telepathy, and I mean with my sister, all the time.
What is love for you?
Love. Love is life. Love is life force. Love is what keeps everything moving. You know, it's meaning, it's purpose, it's why we do things. It's why we're alive, I think. There's Jorge Drexler, you know, which I love. He started he has a song, or he has a recording from I believe it's like his sister or aunt. I went to his concert in LA a few months ago, and he started the show with this like voice memo from his aunt, and where the aunt was explaining, she was like, love is the most brilliant master plan of life, because it's why we're still alive, you know. It's why we take care of each other, it's why we feed each other, it's why a mother and its baby, like, you know, why the baby survives and why humanity has continued to survive. It's like the most intelligent way to create a world is like by creating this thing, this love, you know, that it's like, it's why we do things, it's why it's life force, you know. So I think nothing works without love.
Just pick one card with this mix. You're gonna mescla and you're gonna mix them and all, but just to have one card, le 4 de bâton. Okay, we can start. This is the 4 of hands, the name of the podcast. It's gonna be magical. This is the magical moment. Yeah. So we're gonna see what the universe are telling you today. And we have the 4 of Wands with us. True story. Can you describe the card?
Yeah, it's 4 wands in a cross, but they're, you know, it's two wands going down and then kind of diagonally 2 other wands going down, and they're flowers. It feels like I don't know why it feels like spring to me. It feels like a new life. You know, there's like a seedling kind of blooming. And right in the middle, there's a cube with what looks like a sort of bird flying with its wings open.
Let's go?
Yeah.
Take it. Breathe.
Oh, that felt good.
You have two solutions. Or you ask a question and they're gonna answer. Or the question is, what do you want to tell me today? That's the second question, and they will respond. But you can pick one of the options. You can choose.
Okay. I think I'm gonna leave it up to the cards, what they want to tell me today. What I need to hear right now in my life.
This is the past, this is the present, and this is the future. The past, we have to say thank you, bye, even if it's the sun. I mean, like, okay, we've seen clearly, it's clairvoyance, the sun. It's like happiness. So yes, I've seen clearly. Now I have to work on that, on the present card. And that's the future potential, the potentiality of now, what we are working. You want to have a look on this one? Okay, let's go. What do you see?
I see, it's the 7 of Cups, no? 7 of Cups. 8, huh? Yeah. And it's, there's a balance right in the middle. There's life, you know, I see leaves growing, and I see 8 cups full. Yeah,
the past is in the past and you are in peace with that. The 8 of cups, it's emotion, it's intime, it's how do we feel. 8 is to leave something behind who don't serve you anymore. And so that's super healthy, super balanced. Past is in the past, in your energy. It don't mean like you forgot. It means like you are not struggling so much, or the tarot is telling you, you know how to do. So you have that in you. So connect with that ability, because I told you have. So if you want to hear that today, because if the card is here, you need to hear that today. You are super good to let the thing go when they have to let new things come, because it's how it works. It's happening. Let's see what you are today. What are the challenge?
Oof, this one feels heavy. 10 cups.
Yeah.
There's it's like a wheel with like a sword kind of right through it. And the cup at the top is sideways and it's spilling almost.
It's telling you that you are on the top of what you can, the top of capacity to give and to receive. It's the challenge today. I told you about dark side and bright side. The challenge is to realize like all it's inside and all can be outside. It's what we are talking about. And it's also telling you like a huge period of fulfillment is happening.
Yeah.
A huge period. Maybe you don't realize it. It's really what's happening today. Muy rico.
Sí.
Muy rico. The future, the 3 of Cups can be like together celebrating. So soon you would have something to celebrate about because you have 8 of Cups for the past.
Yeah.
10 of Cups for the present. I mean, like you are full of love. Like, I mean, like, and you're ready for abundance. And 3 of Cups. 3 of Cups means like my God, we did so well.
It worked. It makes me feel really like calm. It's like, okay, I'm okay. Like this, which I know, you